Welcome to another show of A Victim Bites Back, where I take a look at our old house, Cobbitts, built in 1400 many years ago, where the family lived for many years, and also discuss certain very topical moments. I went down to have lunch with my dear friend Johnny Beerling, who is perhaps the best controller of Radio 1 there has ever been. We meet up regularly every few months for lunch. A lovely lunch with my old friend Johnny Beerling, but whilst you look at the countryside in Surrey as I was driving down to have lunch with Johnny, I thought we needed to discuss two matters: the Lucy Letby situation and thoughts provoked by what went on, and the Channel 4 two-part documentary they just had, and also the Gaza-Trump situation with Netanyahu. The Lucy Letby two-part documentary on Channel 4 was actually very good, and it was mainly good because it didn't decide whether she was innocent or guilty, which none of us can decide. Only a really good, well-run trial can do that. But I suspect the problem has been that, just like many other things, the trial was totally unsafe, and the reason clearly being her defence lawyers were utterly useless. They didn't go to all the experts that Mark MacDonald has recently and since then gone to. They didn't bother to put up any proper examination of her situation or the deaths of the babies. They did what all defence lawyers, or almost all defence lawyers, tend to do, and that is they looked at it generally, they looked at the prosecution case, they presented their case in between working on 10 or 12 other cases they have to do, and that was it, which I think raises the main point. Defence lawyers nearly always at trials in Great Britain are useless, and I'm afraid that applies to my own case as much as to anybody else's. They simply don't do the work needed. They don't know, they don't have the time to spend because they've got so many other things going on. They simply do not provide a proper defence. That's why Andrew Malkinson spent 70 years in jail for a rape he didn't commit. That's why 900 post office submasters had to suffer for years and years and years without any of their defence teams, 900 defence teams, managing to present the evidence that was eventually found by the media. And that was what really broke the post office scandal open, and we now find that all 900 of those sub-post officers were innocent. It happened again and again and again, and it happened to me back in the year 2001. Johnny actually lives in Sussex, but I drove down so that I could take a look at our old house, Cobbitts, which has been done up very nicely. We lived there until just a few years ago, and it looks absolutely beautiful. The other topic I wanted to discuss was Netanyahu and Gaza. It seems to me that Netanyahu has done a wonderful job of pulling the wool over Trump's eyes, but I suspect with Trump's full cooperation. My suspicion is that Trump owes his presidency to Israel and Russia online. I think they worked online very hard for him and got him elected. As a result, he's completely pro-Putin and pro-Netanyahu. The situation is, and it may well have been resolved by this time, is that I suspect Hamas will reject the peace offer, therefore will be condemned for letting the war go on, as they have already been condemned for starting it by their stupid criminal activity on October the 7th, a couple of years ago. And Netanyahu will then be able to continue his aim, which is to wipe Palestine off the map, using the excuse that I wanted peace, but Hamas wouldn't agree with it. Cunt. The other noticeable thing happening over the past few weeks and future weeks have been the party political conferences. Is there anything more pointless than these conferences? The leaders, none of whom I have any respect or time for, just come up with the same old truisms, the same old cliches, and the media carries them all, and the whole thing gets us nowhere. It just distracts people from getting on with what they ought to be getting on, like sorting out the broken, ridiculous judicial system of the moment. That's all from me, Jonathan King. A victim bites back again next time around.